This is a tough Seahawk team to beat here at home. 3-0 under Pete Carroll, who's standing by with Pam Oliver.
Well, Pete, obviously you have one of the best crowds in the league. How do you rely on it?
Well, every chance we get, we try to get them revved up, of course, and it really helps when we have good play on our field.
Charlie Whitehurst getting the start today. What are some of the things you try to do for him early?
Well, Charlie's ready to go. He's had a great week of practice. He's been preparing all year for this, so this is his day. I'm really excited to see him go.
Appreciate it, Pete. Joe, back to you.
All right, Pam, thank you. And nice of Pete to stop by for a pre-kick visit. And as we look at the storylines coming into this game, obviously the focus is Charlie Whitehurst. First NFL start. How will his offensive line, which has been completely reshuffled, hold up against this swarming Giants defense? And you can already hear what the Giants are going to have to deal with offensively. And Tom Coughlin all week has been preaching poise in the noise, and it is noisy. Little pop-up kick. It'll take a bounce, trying to slow down Leon Washington. That was well placed by Lawrence Tynes. And Washington, who's returned 2 kicks for touchdowns this season, couldn't get his engine started in just an 11-yard return.
Yeah, it's a great point, Joe, because coming into this game, the Giants know that Seattle's kickoff return team is outstanding. Leon Washington has been terrific, and so Lawrence Tynes, rather than concentrate on trying to get the ball into the end zone on a touchback, wanted to place it, and he did perfectly.
So here is Charlie Whitehurst, who was traded here from San Diego. First NFL start. Start with it on the ground. Marshawn Lynch goes backward, and a good start for this Giants defense. A loss of 2. Up front, you better get a scorecard out, even if you're a diehard Seahawk fan, to figure out who is where. They're going to try and protect Charlie Whitehurst and open up running lanes for Marshawn Lynch. And here they are. Chester Pitts at left tackle, Mike Gibson at left guard, and then it's semi-normal from the center out to the right tackle. Locklear at right tackle. But we'll talk about the injuries after this play. Quick throw, and the pass is caught after a juggle. That is Deon Butler, and Butler goes backward. Antrell Roll on the stop, but Terrell Thomas was out there, and it was Thomas who almost broke it up completely.
Well, we've already seen what Seattle wants to do. They want to run the ball, and then they want to get the quick passing game going. Terrell Thomas right there. He's anticipating the quick throw, and they're going to be all over these receivers. You know, we heard our Pam Oliver talk to Pete Carroll about how they were going to start this game with Charlie Whitehurst. Well, that's what they're going to do, and it's not lost on the New York Giants.
3rd down and 15. Quick setup and throw, broken up for Mike Williams. That'll bring up 4th down, and Thomas was involved on each of the last 2 throws.
Well, coming into the game, we know in talking with defensive coordinator Perry Fuel that, you know, a young quarterback making his first NFL start, that, you know, these are the things that you like to do in order to get a quarterback who's young and inexperienced settled down early in a game. And Terrell Thomas comes up with a couple nice plays.
John Ryan will punt it. Will Blackman, his first week with the New York Giants, former Green Bay Packer. It's his beginning in a Giants uniform, and he's tripped up. He stays up, and Blackman, now they're going to say he's down. Looked like he may have kept his knee off the ground. The call is down near the 40. Will Herring made the play defensively, and Blackman almost broke one on his first try. And here is Eli Manning. And Eli Manning, even with his 11 interceptions, has been in charge of an offense that's put up 30 points per game during an undefeated October. And there are the changes on the offensive line. Seibert, the veteran, the starter at center instead of Adam Coates. And Sean Andrews at left tackle. Bradshaw tries the right side. Nowhere to go. So now the defense, which comes in ranked 26th overall up front. Avi'i gets the start at defensive tackle. Brandon Mebane is still out. There are the linebackers in the secondary, including the rookie Earl Thomas, who has 4 picks. First throw, Manning. Nice throw and a completion to Nix. 13 yards and a Giants first down.
Well, we heard this crowd here at West Field, and that's why they made the changes, the New York Giants, up front by putting Rich Seibert, who is typically their starting left guard, putting him at center, and then Sean Andrews at left tackle. It was their attempt to try to put a more experienced player at center rather than go with Adam Coates, who would have been making just his 4th NFL start at that position.
Sean O'Hara's out with a foot sprain. Here's Bradshaw, right side, not much. Hawthorne, the linebacker, made the play, a gain of 2. Sean O'Hara, who was the 11-year veteran and a good center, he missed 3 games earlier with a left ankle injury, and now he's out with a mild Liz Frank sprain in his right foot. So with communication paramount in this crowd noise, it's Seibert at center and not Adam Coates. 2nd and 8. Handoff to Bradshaw. And Ahmad Bradshaw doesn't go down easily, and he stretches near the first down marker. They're going to mark him a yard short. 3rd and 1 coming up.
Well, Ahmad Bradshaw, I mean, that's what you get used to seeing from him each and every week. I mean, for a guy who's no bigger than what he is, only 5'9". I mean, he runs as a much bigger back. Very physical and great quickness and speed.
Play action to Jacobs. Manning dumps it off for a first down to Kevin Boss, who's inside the 30. Ball comes out, but they're ruling Boss down. Hawthorne came away with it, but Boss was ruled down, and a first down for the Giants.
It looked like just a one-man route there by the Giants. They put Kevin Boss in motion. He was engaged. Looked like he was going to be blocking as you see him work across the formation off of play action. And at the last minute, he just came off of the block and then was open for the reception.
And at the last minute, Pete Carroll just challenged the call on the field. Take another look. Boss. Ball is coming out, and it looks like it's out.
On the field that the ball was fumbled and recovered by members of defense.
So an early review. This ball could belong to the Seahawks. No score early. Rather clear cut. Pete Carroll challenged the call. It was clear that not only did Kevin Boss fumble it, Curry knocked it out, but that Hawthorne came away with it. Was ruled a 9-yard completion to Boss, and here are the Giants, Troy, moving the ball, couple of first downs on the road, trying to take the crowd out of it. And it looks to be the 22nd giveaway by this Giants team. That's 3rd most in the NFL.
Well, and as good as the Giants have played this season, that has been the thing that has plagued them, and it's driven Tom Coughlin absolutely crazy. He understands that it's going to come up and bite them one of these games. They've been able to overcome them for the most part all year. But that's going to be the element in this game against Seattle that's going to allow the Seahawks to stay in this ball game.
You don't get the advancement, but you get the football on the recovery by Hawthorne. And here's the call from Pete Morelli.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field that the receiver fumbled the ball, it was recovered by Seattle. Please put the ball be placed on the 29-yard line. Please set the game clock to 10:44. Seattle.
So Troy, not only is it another giveaway by the Giants offensively, and if there's a poster coach for the anti-giveaway, it's Tom Coughlin, who came in talking about that as he's in his 7th year now with the Giants, but a Seattle defense that's now taken it away 13 of the 14 times they have all season here at home. And Whitehurst is right back at it with better field position. And he rolls to his right, gets a little room and completes the pass to Deon Butler, a gain of just 1. So now we look at this Giants defense. After Boley made that play, he's at weak side linebacker. Up front, Tuck, Cofield, Canty, and Umanura, who was just named the Defensive Player of the Month for October. He was all over the place, and here is the secondary, and they roll in the extra safety in the former Seahawk Deion Grant. 2nd and 9. Another throw to the sideline and too high. Had Butler but missed him.
A pretty good throw right there by Charlie Whitehurst. Kenny Phillips, the safety, trying to work under that throw, and you know, it was a little bit high, but one that certainly could have been caught. And Charlie Whitehurst, we had a chance, Joe, to visit with him on Friday, and you know, he wasn't real sure how he was going to feel coming into this game and making his first NFL start. He seemed like a pretty cool customer, and knowing that this is a great opportunity for him to showcase to this team what it is that he has.
They gave up a lot to get him, both with a draft pick and then with money. Down the sideline, Butler again, overthrown. He's got a big arm, Whitehurst. He is the son of former Green Bay Packer quarterback David Whitehurst. Played in the late 70s, early 80s in Green Bay and preceded Lynn Dickey. And a collegiate player at Clemson. Saw him before the game. I said, how'd you sleep last night? He said, let's just say I was thankful for the extra hour as we turned the clocks back.
I bet he didn't get much sleep. He didn't need that extra hour.
Here is a punt hit by Ryan Blackman. Almost broke one his first time. He has no chance this time. Dexter Davis, right in the face of Will Blackman, and a penalty flag is sitting down way back at the line of scrimmage. And they're going to ask the Giants sideline. It's an ineligible man downfield. Right now the ball's at the 24.
Ineligible man downfield, number 58 of the kicking team. 5-yard penalty remains, 4th down.
So instead of tacking on 5 and taking it out to the 29, the Giants are going to make Seattle punt it again.
Well, when you look at Seattle offensively, here they've had 2 offensive possessions and 2 3-and-outs forced by the Giants defensively. And coming into the game, the Seattle Seahawks led the league in the most 3-and-outs offensively. And this man right here, John Ryan, 9 punts in last week's loss to the Oakland Raiders. And now out here today, he's already making his 3rd.
It was Davis who made the play, and it was Davis who was guilty of being downfield too early. Ryan's had a good year.
He might need to ice that leg down again after this one.
9.5 to go, opening quarter, and Will Blackman, who's taking the place of Darius Raynaud, who's out with a bad hamstring. Is waiting back inside his own 30. This one hangs up in the wind and almost goes backward, and it does after it bounces. Great field position for the Giants, who have turned it over once. Just a 28-yard punt. It is loud in Seattle, and there is no score. Giants picked up 24 yards of field position on that re-kick. First drive started at their own 39, this one at their own 48. Manning drops it underneath Bradshaw. First down inside the 40. 13 yards, Ahmad Bradshaw on the little dump-off pass from Eli Manning.
You see just how physical of a runner Ahmad Bradshaw is. Of course, he has had the troubles with the fumbles, but you know, in an attempt to try to keep that from happening, you hate to overcoach him and lose some of the things that makes him so special. Putting him in the starting lineup this year has made a real difference in what they've been able to do.
He's lost 4 fumbles. That leads all NFL running backs. Trying the right side here and nothing. Bradshaw, Terrell made the play, and Ciavi'i was there as well, a gain of 1.
You know, the Seattle defense has given up a lot of yards this year. Overall, for the season, they haven't been too bad against the run. They've held up fairly well. However, the last 3 weeks, they have given up a lot of yardage. Last week, the Oakland Raiders went for over 200 yards rushing against them. Obviously, a lot of big plays in that. But so far, you know, here in the early going, they've held up pretty well in the running game against this team and the Giants.
2nd and 9. A blitz. Giants pick it up, and the pass thrown away over the head of Nix. And there was pressure bearing down on Eli Manning. It's 3rd and 9.
I think Eli was thinking that he was going to get that picked up. Ahmad Bradshaw was in the backfield, and typically that back will then scan. And when there's nobody to his side to pick up, he'll check the opposite side, and had he have done that, then he would have been able to block it up, and Eli would have been able to hold the ball a little bit longer.
Manning throws, far sideline, broken up, but a flag. Trufant in the face of Nix. Did not get his head around, and a flag was thrown at that spot.
Pass interference. Number 23, the defense. Automatic 1st down.
Sean Andrews, the left tackle, does a nice job here. You're going to see Lawyer Malloy, who comes on the blitz. He comes out, picks it up, and it gives Eli Manning an opportunity then to step up in the pocket. Akeem Nicks, I mean, this is really where he's so good, because he's such a big receiver and a physical receiver at the point of the catch, and a nice call there by the official on the pass interference.
Bradshaw gets around the edge and then gets smacked just inside the 20, a gain of 3. Aaron Curry over there to make the stop.
Yeah, I talked about Ahmad Bradshaw getting the starting job this year. Lofa Tatupu, their linebacker, and talking with him, asked him, you know, who would you rather face, Ahmad Bradshaw or Brandon Jacobs? And he said, hey, Brandon Jacobs is an absolute beast. There's no doubt about that. But I'd much rather face the guy who's going to run over me as opposed to have to go chase a guy in Ahmad Bradshaw all over the field. That's the kind of respect that he has earned throughout this league.
Adam Coates is in its center for the first time in this opening quarter. Pressure on Manning. Deal took care of his guy, and underneath it's Bradshaw for a 1st down to the 10.
Ahmad Bradshaw getting a little workout here in the early going, and you know, hats off to Eli Manning, the way that he is getting the ball out of his hands, because they're bringing some pretty good pressure right now off the edges, and because the protection inside, Coates doing a good job on that last one in order to shore up any type of inside pressure so Eli could get it out into the hands of Ahmad Bradshaw.
1st and goal.
This is where Akeem Nicks becomes a big factor.
Manning throws, completes Manningham. And Manningham is forced out at the 2, a gain of 8. Trufant out there to make the stop. And just to give stats to what you said at the snap, Akeem Nicks in the red zone with 8 catches, 6 receiving touchdowns in the red zone. This time Manning threw it to Manningham.
And the reason why he's been so good is really for the same reason that he was able to draw that pass interference. He's just a big physical receiver who can go up and make the big plays.
One-on-one with Trufant. Bradshaw pounds it inside, and he's in for the touchdown. Ran right through Lofa Tatupu, carried him into the end zone. And the Giants strike first here in Seattle.
Well, David Deal making the start at left guard. He does a good job of sealing things off. And then you're also going to see Sean Andrews and Kevin Boss there at tight end. And Just a nice job up front by that offensive line.
It's 7-0. Ahmad Bradshaw with 8 touches, 37 yards, and a touchdown today. An early turnover, Giants survived it. New York puts up 7. Well, a drive that was kept alive by Marcus Trufant pass interference on 3rd and 9 ends in an Ahmad Bradshaw 2-yard touchdown run. 7-play drive covering 52 yards, and now Leon Washington leads the NFL in kick return yardage weights. This time Tynes drives it, and a chance for Washington, former Jet. Trying to turn on the Jets, and he is tripped up at the 20. Blackburn. Chase Blackburn on the tackle, a return of 19 yards. Charlie Whitehurst and company back to work. 7-0 New York. How about the comeback by the Minnesota Vikings? May have saved Brad Childress's job today. They beat Arizona. Now the Cardinals are 3-5. As you look at the West with Seattle on top.
What are you saying? He was in the hot seat?
I would, yeah. Yeah, they don't get much hotter. As Marshawn Lynch carries for 2 over the left side. And who is Charlie Whitehurst? Well, he played collegiately at Clemson. Was a 3rd-round pick by San Diego, who was traded to Seattle in March. And there was a bit of a competition to get him. Arizona was interested in him as well, and he's the son of former Packer quarterback David Whitehurst, who's watching this game on TV. Charlie told you guys that his mom and sister would be here in Seattle watching. Over the middle, passes high but caught. That's Baker, the tight end. 3rd down and 1 coming up.
Charlie said his dad does a lot better watching it on TV, and even though his mom and sister are here today, they were planning on coming to this game several weeks ago. So it's not just because he's the starter, but now they get an opportunity to actually watch him play. And you know, the only film that anybody has to go off of was preseason games, because as we know, he has not played, has not started in the NFL, but Pete Carroll felt that watching the preseason games gave him plenty to evaluate.
Here's a throwback, a double pass, and then incomplete with his receiver wide open. Pass intended for Baker, and Whitehurst just missed him. Play was there.
Yeah, and he had time too. He was under a little bit of pressure, and he had to get it out of his hands, but not that it should have impacted the accuracy of the throw. It was a nice job by Leon Washington delivering a good ball then to Whitehurst for him to make the throw. Rocky Bernard the one who's given the pressure, but just an errant pass. And you can only imagine some of the adrenaline that's running through Charlie Whitehurst.
It's been 3 3-and-outs for the Seattle Seahawks. And here's a fair catch called for by Blackman, and that was eventful, but he hung on. Good field position again for the Giants at their own 36 as they lead the Seahawks by 7. Giants are coming off their bye week. They lead 7-0. They've won 4 straight. And they lead the NFC East. So far showing poise in the noise that Tom Coughlin was talking about. This is Bear Pasco forced out right at the marker. Looking forward to next week. It's a Fox doubleheader. Game 1, Vikings, Bears, Lions, Bills. Then America's Game of the Week, Cowboys and Giants. Seahawks against the Cardinals, Rams, and 49ers. Next week, 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, it starts. The Ford Fox NFL pregame show brought to you by the all-new Ford F-150, built Ford tough. That's next week. Giants have 5 of their remaining 8 games against the NFC East. On first down, the big back, Brandon Jacobs. Carries for 4, 6'4", 264 pounds.
You know, one of the things the New York Giants are doing, you're going to see Adam Coates right here. He comes in at tight end. They had been using Sean Andrews in that role because they don't really have a true blocking tight end. And so they like to bring in an extra offensive lineman. But now, of course, with Adam Coates not getting the nod to start at center, he now is that swing guy that will come in and help them out.
On second down, Jacobs again met and dropped in the backfield, and it was Seahawks, a loss of 2.
Junior Seahawks, he's getting his opportunity today because of Colin Cole being down, and we talked about the injuries and all of the things that have taken place within this Seattle team, particularly on defense. They're also playing without starting defensive end Red Bryant, which Pete Carroll was very concerned about coming into this game and how it would impact their ability to slow down the run.
It's 3rd and 8. Blitz. Manning buys time and floats one for Smith, incomplete. There's a flag down on the field. Here's Pete Morelli.
Illegal contact. Defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
You're going to see Steve Smith here in the slot. Called on Earl Thomas, the rookie safety. And there's the contact right there. And you know, Earl Thomas is a young player, and he's had some nice plays through the first half of the season. He's also had some bad plays. It's just all part of the process of becoming a good player in the National Football League. And now we've seen a couple of drives stay alive after they had stopped him on 3rd downs because of pass interference and illegal contact.
On first down, end zone, Nix open. Touchdown. So for the 2nd straight time, a Giants drive has been kept alive by a Seahawk penalty. The last one on the rookie Earl Thomas, and a 46-yard touchdown.
Well, you're going to see Earl Thomas, he jumps the crosser, and he's got to keep depth. He jumps the crosser there. It looked like it was Kevin Boss, and because he doesn't stay in deep middle field, Akeem Nicks has got a free shot. Eli Manning reads it out perfectly. He didn't have to make a perfect throw because there was no middle safety, and another mistake by the rookie.
And for Nix, touchdown reception number 9 for Eli Manning, his 15th. A 46-yarder. And the longest reception by Nix this season. 14-0. And the 5-2 Giants having fun on the road. Eli, a good start here in Seattle. Here in downtown Seattle, there is the Garden of Remembrance, which honors fallen soldiers from the Seattle area. With Veterans Day coming up, you can offer your support to the USO organization to help. Text the word USO to 27722 to donate $10. Well, on that last drive, an illegal contact on Earl Thomas on 3rd and 8, which was followed on the very next play, a 46-yard touchdown throw to Hakeem Nicks. And this is indeed a big play offense for the Giants, who are starting to emerge as certainly one of maybe the best team in the NFC. Now another pop-up kick. It bounces. Leon Washington on a hop. Loses the football. It bounces right into the arms of Goff. And Goff is out of bounds at the 5. They're going to mark him inside the 5 at the 3. Leon Washington coughed it up, and it bounced right into the lap of Jonathan Goff. Travis Beckham knocked it out.
Well, and then it just got a perfect bounce, and Jonathan Goff right there in order to pick it up, and I tell you, the Giants, no doubt, came into this game knowing that they had to do a good job against the Seahawks kick return team as well as their punt return team, and they have done that. They kicked that one just like they did the opening kickoff of the game, just more of a pooch kick, and they get the turnover, and now great field position to score their third touchdown.
Cam Chancellor's the one that saved the touchdown. First and goal. Bradshaw already has one, and now another. Touchdown Giants, and in a blink, they're an extra point away from a 21-0 start in Seattle. What a start. That's even with turning the ball over once in the opening quarter.
You watch right here, Rich Seibert and David Deal, center and guard in the push, and Chris Snee in the middle. I mean, just a heck of a job up front of rolling up Seattle's defensive front and giving Ahmad Bradshaw a chance to get in the end zone.
2 minutes left in the first quarter, and this loud crowd has been all but taken out of it by the Giants offense, which is exactly what Eli Manning told us yesterday. The only way to cure that noise is to move the ball, start fast, and they've done it. Here's the 46-yarder to Hakeem Nicks. 14-0, and now Ahmad Bradshaw with his second touchdown run of the day.
Well, we talked about it coming into this game, Joe. In order for Seattle to have a chance in this ball game, they were going to have to be awfully good on special teams, and they're going to have to be awfully good on defense, because offensively, as we talked about, going with Charlie Whitehurst, his first NFL start, you know, this offense has had problems, even with Matt Hasselbeck as their quarterback, and they've had to win with the kicking game and defense, and if they weren't great in those areas, they were going to have a tough afternoon.
That's 2 touchdowns in 15 seconds, and now Charlie Whitehurst, you talk about a baptism under fire. Down 21-0, he'll be dropping back, and the Giants know what to do when the opposing quarterback does a lot of that. Brett Favre in the early game headliners, there's his day. A huge rally for the Vikings, who are still in it as they came back and beat Arizona. Peyton Hillis with a big day, and then Michael Turner in a win for Atlanta at home over Tampa Bay, but they had to fight to get it. Game break is coming up, and that bunch set. Now a line drive kick. We've seen everything from Lawrence Tynes. From outside the 10, it's Leon Washington. He needs to spark this team. Trying to outrun Ross. Duke Calhoun with the tackle. And a 57-yard return by Leon Washington.
Well, we saw that bunch set by the Giants, and you know, that's an attempt then to try to confuse Seattle as far as who they're going to be picking up, you know, in the blocking. And you know, if you're going to get Leon Washington, you got to get him right there, because once he gets ahead of steam, middle return. Lawrence Tynes was the last guy who really had a chance before he broke it. That's tough duty right there, one-on-one, but great hustle there on the back end of it to keep Leon Washington from going the distance.
That was the rookie free agent receiver Duke Calhoun on the tackle after Ross slowed him. And here's Lynch for 4. Here's Kurt Menefee with a game break.
You mentioned Favre, the Vikings down 14 to Arizona, less than 5 minutes left at home. But with 27 ticks to go, Shanko with a touchdown reception from Favre ties the game, sends it to overtime, where Ryan Longwell kicked a 35-yarder to win it, 27-24. Vikings now 3-5. Joe?
All right, Kurt, so for Favre, a career high in passing yardage today, and they needed every bit of it. Here is Lynch. He won't go down. A penalty flag is on the field as Marshawn Lynch with a spirited run.
Oh, my gosh.
Trying to will his team back into the game, but there is a flag on the field.
Well, the way it's gone the last few weeks for Marshawn Lynch, he's going to have to carry about 10 defenders with him if he's going to get any kind of yardage.
Foul, grabbing the face mask. Number 21 in defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Troy, that's one of the best 7-yard runs you'll see all year.
Yeah, it's the best one I've seen ever.
There it is on Kenny Phillips. On the left side of your screen, the face mask or hands to the face. Here's the run.
Well, Marshawn Lynch, he joined this team. This is his 4th game now with Seattle. And, you know, here's a guy who was averaging right around 4.5 yards a carry during his first 4 games for Buffalo. He comes to Seattle. He's averaging under 3 yards a carry. It's been tough sledding.
Here is Forsett, and Forsett goes backward, a loss of 1. Goff, who's been impressive at the middle linebacker spot, up to make the play.
Well, and Jonathan Goff, what a year he has had. You know, I mean, one of the questions coming into this season for New York was who was going to be the leader of that defense and who was going to man the middle linebacker position after they lost Antonio Pierce. They expected that to be Keith Bullock. They went out and signed him. But to Jonathan Goff's credit, he earned the job in the offseason and throughout training camp and the preseason, and he's been a good player for this team here this year.
2nd down and 11. And Lynch was falling forward.
Start, number 24, offense. 5-yard penalty remains, 2nd down.
It's like standing, waiting for a free throw. And the momentum was carrying him into the lane. Watch him start to lean.
He'd get out on those toes, and then he's just hoping the ball snapped. Pretty athletic move, even catching himself.
Lane violation, number 24, and it's 2nd down and 16, and that's the end of the first quarter. Here in Seattle, Seahawks trying to jump back in it after the return by Leon Washington. 21-0 Giants. The NFL on Fox will continue after this from your local Fox station. Giants in the first quarter, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaged 7.6 yards per play. The Seahawks just 15 yards of total offense. Costly penalties and a fumble. Whitehurst almost went down, dropping back. This one's picked off. In and out of the hands of Mike Williams, and now intercepted by Terrell Thomas. A bad break for Charlie Whitehurst, made a good throw. Mike Williams could not hang on, and Terrell Thomas comes away with his 3rd pick of the season.
Charlie Whitehurst stumbles a little bit coming out of the pocket, but he delivered a perfect pass. You know, last week against Oakland, Mike Williams dropped one that might have been a touchdown. Here he should have made the catch for what was probably a touchdown, and because he bobbles it, easily touchdown. He's in the end zone at the time that he drops it, but a good job of concentrating there by Terrell Thomas after the ball was deflected off of Williams' hands.
Another Seattle miscue. 28 yards on the return by Thomas, and already up 21. Here's Brandon Jacobs, and this defense is going to start getting worn out, which was the case last week in their loss at Oakland. Back to the interception.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie, he knows where he wants to go with the ball. He delivers it perfectly, and these are the types of things that you just don't want to see happen to a young quarterback who is trying to settle in. I mean, he makes a good throw, and Mike Williams just unable to haul it in. But you called it, Joe. I mean, you look at this game so far here in this first half, and Seattle should be in it if it weren't for the mistakes, all of the mistakes that they've made that have led to the points and kept them from scoring on that last play.
Play action on 2nd and 8. Time for Manning, and the pass is caught by Smith. Good low throw, and an even better catch by Steve Smith in front of Trufant.
Well, in front of Trufant, because you don't get the linebackers running underneath that route because of the play action, and because the Giants are so good running the football, these things then allow the quarterback to throw just one-on-one routes. Great job by Steve Smith working around Trufant and then going and getting the ball.
First down at the Giant 46. Here's Jacobs, room to run. Lowers his shoulder and delivers a blow to Earl Thomas, the rookie, a gain of 14 yards.
Well, Bear Pasco, he's playing more fullback because of Madison Hedgecock being down. You're going to see he's the lead blocker. Brandon Jacobs gets in behind him, takes on Lofa Tupu, and then he's able to get up on the safety. Terrell Thomas then has to make the stop, or Earl Thomas, excuse me. That was a nice hole there by that offensive front.
Pasco is taking the place again of the injured Madison Hedgecock, who retweaked his hamstring during practice this week. Jacobs to the edge. It was Thomas again coming up. First one there, a gain of 7.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive watching the New York Giants, considering that they shuffled the offensive line. Instead of just being a little weak at the center position, they did what they felt was best to solidify that entire offensive front by moving everybody over. Pat Flaherty, the offensive line coach, is the guy responsible for getting that group ready to go in this ball game. A great week, obviously a preparation, because these guys have come out ready to play.
For Seibert, it's his first start at center since December of 06. This one is incomplete, but a flag is thrown. Trufant with coverage of Steve Smith, and it's against Smith. Pass interference against the Giants.
Pass interference, number 12 of the offense. 10-yard penalty remains, second down.
That was a good call right there. You know, so many times when there's contact that, you know, they're looking to make it on the defensive player, but, you know, hey, he was in a good position. The field judge was to make that call, and you saw Steve Smith's right hand get extended.
Trufant thought it was against him, at least the call was clearly against Smith. And it's 2nd and 13. Seattle has to make something happen here defensively. Pass is behind Nix.
I think one of the things that has made this New York Giants offense, you know, so difficult to defense is, yes, they run the football well, but if you think back to last year, Steve Smith was their leading receiver. He had 107 receptions last season, and their second closest receiver was Mario Manningham. He had 50 fewer receptions. Well, this year they've done a much better job of really spreading the ball around to their skilled players.
3rd and 13. Manning throws, the pass caught by Nix. First down Giants, and a big completion from Eli Manning. And they are going right at Marcus Trufant. Play after play, and this one good for 22 and a first down.
Well, they really are. You see Akeem Nix, I mean, I don't know if he got away with a push there or not, but Marcus Trufant, I mean, he might have been anticipating the slant route, but he got hard inside. And Nix was about as open as you can get at the time Eli threw him the ball.
First down at the 21. Eli slings it, completes to Manningham. It's good for 7. Let's go to Kurt for a game break.
Nick Folk kicked a tying field goal at the end of regulation. Final play for the Jets to send it to overtime, and then a 30-yarder to win it for the Jets in Detroit, who came back from 10 points down in the fourth quarter for a 23-20 victory over the Lions. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
Wow. That's another comeback on the heels of us talking about what the Vikings did to the Cardinals.
Yeah, and another tough loss for the Detroit Lions. I think that team is on the verge of being a really good team.
I totally agree. Here's Bradshaw left side, and Ahmad Bradshaw is drilled out of bounds right at the marker. David Hawthorne made the hit, and it looks to be enough for a first down.
I was talking about this just the other night, Joe. Ahmad Bradshaw being a 7th-round pick, and it's amazing when you look around the league how many quality players there are playing in the National Football League that were 7th-round picks. You know, guys that not a lot was expected from at the time that they were drafted, but have gone on and made a huge impact, and Ahmad Bradshaw is certainly one of those guys.
Played at Marshall. He's not a big guy, but as you said, he runs big. On first down, Ahmad again to Tupu on the stop. Gain of 5. So Bradshaw has been busy. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns. He also has 22 receiving yards, and he's on the board for the offensive leaders. Nix with a touchdown, 81 yards, and a good day on the road here in the first half for Eli. 2nd and 5. There's Nix. Pasco in motion. They go to Nix, and the pass goes right into the ground as the Giants work into the wind. And there's a penalty flag on the far side of the field at the 10. As it is 3rd and 5.
Illegal shift. Offense, number 86 is going down prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
It's against Bear Pasco. And they're going to take the penalty. It's still 2nd down. I was going to say, now they're going to decline the penalty as Pete Morelli corrects the call. Why give him another shot at it? Instead of 2nd and 10, they'll keep it 3rd and 5 for New York. Manning over the middle. It's Smith for the touchdown. Steve Smith reached out and got it across. And number 12 in front of number 12. As they salute the 12th man here in Seattle, the Giants have all but eliminated the 12th man with his start here today.
Well, they do a nice job of running a natural pick. You see Steve Smith. He's going to work off of Kevin Boss. You see that right there. And so it creates some traffic, but an excellent job by Steve Smith of extending the ball to get it across the goal line.
28-0 with 9:15 left in the half. Eli Manning has thrown for 2. This is 2nd of the day. Number 12 gets it in. 28-0 Giants. That's an inside and now an outside look at what has got to be the prettiest practice facility for any team in the NFL, right on Lake Washington.
There's some nice ones out there around the league, but I agree with you, Joe. It's the nicest I've seen.
Another little pop-up kick, and Washington was ready for it. Gets it in the air, and Leon Washington carries it out across the 35. Have the Giants had any fun? I'll say up 28-0 with 9:10 left in the half. Matt Hasselbeck is inactive today. Sacked 13 times over the last 2 games. 8 times last week by Oakland. Here's Lynch out to the 40, a gain of 4. He was hit 20 times, and well, for Matt Hasselbeck, who was traded here from Green Bay in 01, he is trying to tutor Charlie Whitehurst this afternoon.
Yeah, he's glad he's not out there right now. I know that. Down 28-0. Last week against Oakland, he got sacked the first 2 times he dropped back and ended up being sacked 8 times before that game was over.
On 2nd down, Whitehurst throws, and the pass incomplete. Good effort by Butler, but he could not secure it going to the ground. It's 3rd and 6.
We had a chance to visit with defensive coordinator Perry Fuel, and he said kind of their theme was stop the run so we can have some fun. And you know, they've done a good job against the run, but it sure helps when your offense is producing the way that the Giants have and you're up 28-0. So now, in order for Seattle to get back into this, they're going to have to throw the ball. And that's not what you really want to have to rely on against this Giants defensive front.
No, they will have their fun. As Whitehurst throws, sideline caught, and a good effort for a 1st down by Dion Butler. Nifty little move after the catch. The crowd loves it.
A good throw by Charlie Whitehurst here. And you're right, Joe. Dion Butler is able to navigate the sideline and get turned up and pick up a 1st down for him.
Whitehurst who was born in Green Bay, went to high school, Chattahoochee High School in Alpharetta, Georgia, then went to Clemson, set all kinds of records, getting his chance here today. On first down, Marshawn Lynch gets a yard. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Colts continue to test that next man up theory, but when you got Peyton Manning, it's a little bit easier. Jacob Tamme, the tight end replacing Dallas Clark, scores in Philadelphia, and they pull a little closer to the Eagles, 13-7 in the second quarter. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
You know, as long as that next guy up is not someone replacing Peyton Manning, they'll be okay. They'll be okay, and they've been okay.
You saw the stats for Peyton. Here's Carlson, the tight end, with his first catch. Goff makes the stop. By the way, Peyton Manning, who's playing at Philadelphia, is making his 200th consecutive start. Eli is making his 95th consecutive start. So in the Manning family, they grow them tough and rugged, and they answer the bell as Eli answers the phone every week.
I know that means a lot to both of those quarterbacks too, as it should. When you think about it, you know, for Peyton Manning not to have missed a start, and he's not made up any ground on Brett Favre since he got in the league.
Yeah. Favre with another and a big comeback win today. It's 3rd and 5. Whitehurst throws and completes for a first down. Brandon Stokely made the catch, then rolled forward. Depends on the spot, actually, as they move the ball back a couple of inches, and we'll have a measurement.
And Chester Pitts there at left tackle. OC put an inside move on him, and I know in visiting with offensive coordinator Jeremy Bates, they said that they were just happy that Chester Pitts was able to finish the game last week at guard. He's making his first start in a number of years at left tackle today.
By the time Stokely was tapped, looked like he had enough for a first down as he rolled, but they moved it back a couple of inches, and that's how far they're short. And when you're down 28-0, I think you go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't a lot of drama in that spot, or that measurement anyway, knowing that whether they got it or not, if they didn't, they were going to have to go for it. There's offensive coordinator Jeremy Bates, who was the offensive coordinator a couple of years ago for Mike Shanahan in Denver, and that was the year Jay Cutler was a Pro Bowl player and threw for 4,500 yards, orchestrated the #2 offense in football that year.
Whitehurst will keep it, gets shoved from behind, and has enough for a first down. No question as that push got him across the marker. It's a first down, Seattle.
You know, old Charlie Whitehurst, he got a little upright trying to pick that one up. I think he's got, you know, he's learning on the road right now, but, or on the run anyway, but he's got to be able to get down a little bit lower trying to pick up this first down on a quarterback sneak.
Forsett with that little shove just in case. So a conversion on 4th down makes Seattle now 3 for 7 in that category offensively this season. And Whitehurst slings it, caught by Williams. And if nothing else, you want to see what Whitehurst can do as he settles down into this game, trailing by 28.
Well, this was really a nice throw. It's perfectly thrown up the seam and good location, so that Mike Williams is the only one then that could get the ball. Watching him in practice on Friday, Joe, I was impressed, you know, with the velocity that he was able to throw it.
Play action from Whitehurst. Throws for Williams, and he's picked off. Intercepted by Corey Webster, but a flag is down. It's a hold against Seattle.
10-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, Charlie had his guy. They got Corey Webster turned around, and he just didn't get the ball to the outside.
Now Webster's banged up.
The penalty will be declined.
You heard Pete Morelli say it was a hold against Seattle. 10-yard penalty, still first down, not realizing the ball had been intercepted. So Whitehurst throws the interception. Another Seattle turnover, and the Giants have it up 28. Corey Webster, who just came up with his second interception, is taken off. They say it's cramps for Corey Webster, so it doesn't appear serious. What is serious is the work by this offense of the Giants, who turned it over the first time they had it. Now they've scored 4 straight possessions. And Ahmad Bradshaw carries over the right side for 6. Trufant on the tackle, and we go back to that penalty on Sean Locklear.
Yeah, you're going to see him at right tackle, and that's pretty much a hold right there on OCU Manure. Here's the route. Good route. He actually had Corey Webster beat, but Whitehurst has got to get that throw out on the sidelines. Had he have done that, that would have been an easy completion, but because it was behind him, gave Corey Webster an opportunity to make up ground and then get the interception. Good job by him. But that was all a result of a poor throw by Whitehurst.
2nd down and 4. Play action from Manning, who airs it out for Smith. And broken up by Trufant. And I mean, every time you look up, they're going at Marcus Trufant, whether it's with Nix or Steve Smith or Manningham. It's against number 23.
Yeah, and Marcus Trufant is their best corner. You know, and so I just don't think it really matters much to the New York Giants. Eli Manning has such great confidence in all of his guys that he's going to give them a chance. And it's no surprise that the Giants have been so good in creating big plays this year.
It's 3rd down and 4. Pass caught by Manningham, making a move, has a 1st down and more. Manningham is dragged down inside Seattle territory, a catch and run of 32. Will Herring made the tackle. What a day for Tom Coughlin's team here in Seattle.
Well, Roy Lewis, he has an opportunity to make a play. They run the wide receiver screen, number 34, and he just fails to come up and make a play. Shouldn't have been that difficult of a tackle for him to make. He was unblocked. And then once he doesn't make the play, then you saw that they had some blockers out in front.
Under 4 to play, 1st down, New York. Oh, what a catch and throw. How good is Nix becoming on the outside? Here's Kurt Menefee with a game break.
Kansas City and Oakland. Kansas City's Matt Castle hooking up with Veron Tucker. They reviewed it. It was called a touchdown, 11 yards on the score. His first NFL reception for the rookie free agent out of Cal. 10-0 KC in Oakland. Joe Troy, Pam.
All right, Kurt, right when we went to the game break, Kareem McKenzie went down and is laying on his back inside Giant territory. They look at the 10-year pro out of Penn State. We'll take a break. Kareem McKenzie ran right out of his right shoe, so they brought out another shoe. They shuffle along that offensive line as Coates takes over at center. 2nd time he's been there today. And Ahmad Bradshaw on 1st down tries the left side and takes it to the 30. Clemens on the stop, and watch number 67. Here's why he left a moment ago. See, that right shoe just blew out. Literally blew out.
330 pounds will tend to do that every now and then.
So now he's back in, no injury. And Seibert is back at center. Here's Bradshaw underneath, making a move and reaching for the 1st down. Good effort by Ahmad Bradshaw at the end to get 7 and a 1st down. Tonight on Fox, Halloween isn't over until the Simpsons say it is, with the all-new Treehouse of Horror and the Bloodsuckers are hungry for Homer. The episode you've been waiting for is finally here. The all-new Simpsons Treehouse of Horror tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox. And you see the Giants have lived in Seattle territory as we come up on the 2-minute warning. What a half for the Giants. As good as it gets on the road, up 28-0 and knocking on the door again. Visa halftime's coming up with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. An update on the Eagles and Colts, who rules the NFC South. And by the way, in the 2nd half, Michael Strahan will join our broadcast from the plush set out in LA. Here's Eli Manning completing to Steve Smith. who's wrestled down at the 15, a gain of 8 by E.J. Wilson.
Well, here's Sean Andrews at left tackle and Chris Clemens for the Seattle Seahawks. And Clemens has done a nice job this year of putting some pressure on the quarterback, and heck of an athlete for such a for defensive linemen and a guy that can really get up the field. But Sean Andrews doing a good job.
Here's Bradshaw on 2nd and 2, and he just fights his way for a first down. How about the Giants and how they fell into Sean Andrews? And I think it's about time that their general manager Jerry Reese gets some credit, as a timeout is taken here by the Giants. Andrews is added. He is a former first-round pick and a Pro Bowler with the Philadelphia Eagles. Had bouts with depression. Was let go by Philadelphia. The Giants wanted to add him. He's 6'4", 335. Now has proven he can play, Troy, all over the offensive line. And they've needed him here today. They've needed him as an extra offensive lineman. And his brother, who was with him in Philadelphia, was traded, Stacy Andrews, to Seattle. There he is prior to the start of the regular season.
Yeah, both of those guys were expected to really anchor that offensive line in Philadelphia, but it just never happened.
Out of the shotgun, here's Bradshaw trying to pick his way to the end zone. He gets to the 6, maybe inches inside it. Trufant on the stop.
Eli Manning has had a heck of a first half here, and I like what they've done, and Kevin Gilbride and the game that he has called, and Eli being very patient in the pocket. And he's taking his shots when he's had them, but we've seen a number of checkdowns to him off.
Manning buys time and throws for a touchdown. Kevin Boss got it past 2 Seahawk defenders, and Boss now is in on the fun. That's his first of the season.
Yeah, not a lot to the route, really. He just works the back line. You know, they're in the end zone, and Eli Manning gets out to his right and trusts that he can put the ball where Kevin Boss can take it, because there were a lot of bodies around there, and you see the throw there by Eli Manning. Guy's just playing with great confidence right now.
Eli Manning's thrown for 3 touchdowns. They're looking at Earl Thomas, the rookie safety, who's flat on his back in the end zone, tapping on his left ankle. But Kevin Boss, who's been a big target for Eli Manning, has been much more of a blocker this year. At 84 catches, 13 touchdowns his first 3 years. This year came in just 12 catches, no touchdowns. Had a concussion in week 1, and now he finally gets his first points.
And he might be a guy that they'll have a hard time keeping. He's in his contract year, but he's been a good role player for this offense. And you know, they got so many great weapons on the outside. Yeah, they're not utilizing him as much as what they did when he first joined the team a few years ago. But this is a type of game as a quarterback at 34-0. You kind of wonder, okay, well, how much longer am I going to be in the game when we get into this second half? But you know, these are the games you want to keep playing.
Yeah.
You know, this is when it's a heck of a lot of fun.
Good to see Earl Thomas up and able to walk off, at least limp off, as they've taken his left shoe. And now he's walking with it. We asked the question on FoxSports.com, our poll question, who is the best team in the NFC? Go to FoxSports.com to vote. In a second, I'm going to ask Troy Aikman that very question. This to make it 35-0. Tynes, Eli's quarterback rating here in the first half, 152.3. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. The Giants defense is rolling. As we heard from Mike Strahan in our pregame show, everything seems to be coming together. So which is the best team in the NFC?
Well, I think we're watching them. You know, I mean, the Giants, it's interesting. We came into the season and there wasn't a lot of fanfare around the Giants coming into this season. I can't remember a year when there was less discussion about the New York Giants, and then here we are at the midpoint, and I think they're clearly the best team in the NFC as we stand here today. But as we know, the landscape of the league changes so dramatically from one week to the next. But offensively, they're hitting on all cylinders. Defensively, they're playing the way that we expect the Giants to play. They're going to have a hard time losing games unless they beat themselves, with the turnovers, and that's the thing that they're trying to clean up.
After the 1-2 start, you started hearing, well, Bill Cowher's right around the corner. I mean, he's working for CBS. He's right there if he wants to get back into coaching. Good luck. Heads up Tom Coughlin, and now here's a team that's on their way to their 5th straight win.
Well, I asked Tom Coughlin the other day if the Giants have put Tiki Barber on the payroll yet. Every time he's come out and said something, this team's gotten on a roll, and since that time a few weeks ago, they've won 4 straight.
Here is a roller off the foot of Tynes and into the arms of one of the Seahawks. That's Chris Baker, the tight end. And Seattle has it, 47 seconds left in the half. Next weekend on FSN, it's a college football Saturday Big 12 doubleheader. First, Daniel Thomas leads K-State against Blaine Gabbert and powerful Missouri. Then Texas A&M looks to shut down Robert Griffin and Baylor's drive to a bowl berth. Who will rise and fall in the Big 12 college football Saturday next weekend on FSN. Check our local listings for the start in time in your area. Whitehurst throws, has a man, and completes to Stokely. Whitehurst kind of hanging his head going down the field a little bit. He has thrown 2 interceptions, 8 of 15, 59 yards. But you can see some glimpses here with the kind of arm strength he has as he's getting his feet wet, his first NFL start.
Yeah, and it's different, Joe. I mean, I don't care how many preseason games you play in. Until you get into a real game with live bullets, it's a different speed.
Whitehurst throws it away. Nothing out there on the edge with Mike Williams, who's back in the game after basically eating his way out of the league. A guy who ballooned up to 300 pounds after being the 10th overall pick by the Lions. And then he bounced around, went to Oakland, went to Tennessee, was out of the league, and he played collegiately for Pete Carroll. Pete gave him a shot, and he came into this game as their leading receiver.
Well, and it wasn't surprising that the teams that gave him a shot after he left Detroit were all teams that had a coach on the staff from his time at USC.
Whitehurst bobbled the snap. Penalty flag is down as the pass is caught one-handed by Forsett.
Holding, number 75, offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
That's Locklear guilty again. He's one of the regulars on this offensive line, and he was holding out on the edge, and it was Tuck.
Yeah, well, Justin Tuck, you see, they ran a twist there on the outside. He was coming inside, and what happens for these offensive linemen when they start holding like that, it's because they've gotten out of position, and clearly Sean Locklear didn't get moved to where he was squared up on Tuck. But overall, I was getting ready to say that I think this offensive line, considering how dominant this team is defensively and getting pressure on the quarterback, has held up fairly well.
31 seconds left in the half. Whitehurst in trouble. Shows off his arm strength. Pass is incomplete. It'll be 3rd down. Tuck with more pressure. One of the guys making the start out at left tackle is Chester Pitts, who hadn't played in over 14 months since a severe knee injury. Played a little bit last week at Oakland, but last played left tackle in 2005 for Houston. Was told by doctors he would never play again after his knee injury last September, as his MCL was torn off the bone.
And you can only imagine the amount of hours and hard work so that he could get back on the field.
He's out there working against Umanura. Pass underneath is complete. That's way short of first down yardage. Forsett made the catch. And it's 4th down. Seattle will take a timeout with 12 seconds left in the half.
Go back to Mike Williams. As I was saying, that once he left Detroit and he went to Oakland for a brief stop, that was because Lane Kiffin was there, who had been the offensive coordinator there at USC under Pete Carroll. And then he went to Tennessee, and Norm Chow was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee, and he had been with SC as well. And all of these coaches including Pete Carroll, saw how talented he was and what a gifted player he was at SC, and they all knew he had that kind of ability in him. It was just a matter of getting it out. So Pete Carroll said, I'm not surprised by anything that he's done since he's been here, but you talk about how he ballooned up to 300 pounds. You know, when he showed up here in Seattle, he was in great shape, and I know watching him on the practice field on Friday, it's hard to believe that he at one time had gotten that big.
Well, he's always had the great hands, and he's always had the ability to use his body. It's still a big body to position himself in front of a defender, and now he's in much better shape at 235. On fourth down, pass is incomplete. Seahawks will turn it over on down. 7 seconds left, and this will be a 35-0 lead at the half with 7 seconds to go. And for the Giants at the half, it'll be their largest lead since November of 1959 against the Redskins. 299 yards, 5 straight touchdown drives after that opening drive fumble. Eli Manning 3 touchdown passes, and Ahmad Bradshaw 2 touchdown runs. This was a thorough beating here in the first half by the visiting Giants. The 12th man is gone, and on a 4-game win streak, the Giants rolling here in Seattle. 35-0 at the half. The NFL on Fox will continue after a word from your local Fox station. That dramatic music makes it seem like it was a dramatic first half. It was anything but. You can get NFL on iTunes, full games, highlights, and more at itunes.com/NFL. And I guess the question is, what do these two teams want to accomplish here in the second half? Seattle wants to get their young quarterback Charlie Whitehurst settled in and show something here today, while the Giants want to get out of here without anybody of significance getting hurt. Looking for their 5th straight win. And Will Blackman on his first day returning kicks and punts for the Giants. Penalty flag comes in as Blackman gets to the 20. Walter Thurman downfield on the stop.
Grabbing the face mask, number 54, defense of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's Will Herring, and here is Pam Oliver.
Well, where do you start with Pete Carroll? He told me at the half that where we start and how we come out will be the most important thing we do. It's not the score, it's how we respond. Talking to Tom Coughlin, he said he would stress at the half that we come out and play smart football. The only thing that really burned him was that turnover by Kevin Boss. Back to you.
Yeah, that's really the only blemish in the first half. A first down catch for Kevin Boss, and he coughed it up. Other than that, that first half was almost flawless by the Giants.
It was pretty good stuff.
Tom Coughlin can be tough to please sometimes. Here's Bradshaw, and a penalty flag comes in. Bradshaw eventually goes down. We'll get the call from Pete Morelli.
Holding, number 61 of the offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That's Adam Coates. And you can see what the Giants have done as Coates now is in the middle of that offensive line. There are the first half stats, and it's significant. You know, I think all week everybody wrote about Adam Coates getting his 2nd NFL road start. And because the crowd's out of it, now they move Seibert back to left guard, and Coates now is the center for Eli Manning with Sean O'Hara out with a bad foot. Here's Bradshaw, and Ahmad up to the 29.
But one of the things that was pretty impressive there for the Giants on the first half stats was the fact that they were 4 for 4 in the red zone, because as I said early in this game, Seattle defensively has given up a lot of yardage, but one of the areas where they have been very, very good this year has been in the red zone. They came into this game 2nd in the NFL in stopping teams once they got in the red zone, but the Giants executed flawlessly.
It's a strength for the Giants. They came in tied for 2nd in the NFL with their touchdown percentage inside the red zone. As Troy said, 4 for 4 today. Play action from Eli Manning, who has time and throws behind Beckham, the tight end. The offensive leaders for the Giants. Get to see the numbers for Eli Manning. 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns for Ahmad Bradshaw. And Hakeem Nicks just gets better and better. And I started to say, Troy, you have to credit Jerry Reese, the general manager. Last year was the Giants' first real year without a go-to guy, the Plexico Burress, and all of his trouble. But this year it's just all blossomed on the outside for Eli Manning, with Nicks and Manningham joining Steve Smith, who had a big season last year. It's 3rd and 16. And this one's blown dead before it starts. False start.
False start. And Brady to the offense. 5-yard penalty remaining. 3rd down.
No, you're right, Joe. I think if you look at the Giants, and Eli Manning has got to be really enjoying what they've done in getting players around him. You're right. Plexico Burress obviously no longer around. Steve Smith, okay, a slot receiver. How good will he be on the outside as the number 1 guy? He's been terrific. And then you bring in Hakeem Nicks and Mario Manningham too. A very probably underrated guy with great speed and awfully good big play ability.
It's 3rd down and 21. Manning with all day. Over the middle, throws low, and Nicks can't hang on. Kelly Jennings on the coverage. What Eli Manning said about his receivers, he said last year we got away with some things because Nicks and Manningham were athletic. Now they get it. They're confident we can work together. And they come to him with questions. He'll go to them with pointers, and the whole group in the receiving department for the Giants all working together, and it's shown up in big plays.
And then with their ability to run the ball the way they have.
That Dodge hits a good one. Dodge his first punt. Leon Washington on the return. 50-yard punt by the rookie Dodge. And just a 5-yard return. Calhoun on the stop. And a stop for the Seattle defense. They have it down 35. Back to work is Charlie Whitehurst. Down 35, and Boley makes a play on Marshawn Lynch. And then Boley rips down Lynch to the ground. No flag. Loss of 2.
You see Michael Boley, he's over the slot tight end, and he just comes in, and John Carlson is the guy who is expected to block him, but he anticipated the run to his side and was able to beat the block and make a nice play.
2nd down and 12. There's Carlson making the catch. And a good tackle out of the edge by Corey Webster. Gain of 5. Carlson not as involved as he has been. 20 catches coming in. Former 2nd-round pick out of Notre Dame in 08. It's 3rd and 7.
Yeah, John Carlson's had a nice start to his career. 50+ receptions each of his first 2 seasons. Pretty versatile player for the Seahawks.
There are the numbers for Charlie Whitehurst. Traded here from San Diego. And he wasn't ready for the snap. Just able to get back on top of it, and not much has gone right in the starting debut of Charlie Whitehurst. And the frustration for head coach Pete Carroll.
Well, it looked like the ball was snapped before Charlie was ready for it. It was a good snap, but it just came at the wrong time. Charlie's trying to figure out what's happening along the defensive front and where his blitz pickups might be. And Chris Spencer snapped it.
So John Ryan to punt. And now punting with the wind. He hits a beauty. Penalty flag comes down. Blackman from inside the 30. Little jab step to his right, and now room to run to his left. And a good return by Will Blackman, who's showing the Giants something here today. And the penalty is against Seattle. Again, an ineligible man downfield. They'll decline the penalty.
Ineligible man downfield. 59 to the kicking team. The 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. 1st down Timeout.
So the Giants will keep the return. They'll tack on 5 at the end of the play. 22-yard return by Will Blackman. 35-0 New York. David Deal left for a moment. They looked at his x-rays. There they are right there. Negative on his hip. Pro Bowler last year out at left tackle. And so, Coach Aikman, you coach the New York Giants right now. How long do you go with Eli Manning in a 35-0 game?
Well, you try to, I think, get him through the third quarter anyway.
Here's Brandon Jacobs going to break it. How big is this run going to be? All the way down to the 10. Forced out by Earl Thomas. And he busted loose for 38 yards.
You see Brandon Jacobs just off tackle to the right side, and Kareem McKenzie doing a good job, and Brandon Jacobs being very patient, and another 20-plus yard run for the New York Giants. And anytime you run the ball the way that the New York Giants have and you rattle off that kind of yardage, you know, you had Ahmad Bradshaw coming into this game leading the NFL in 20-plus yard runs. You better have good blocking on the outside by the wide receivers, and they get that.
38 yards from Brandon Jacobs, who just lowered his shoulder into Lofa Tupu. That was the longest run of the year by Jacobs, who now gets to do what he does best, and that is run over somebody.
Well, and I said earlier, Lofa Tupu said that, you know, he'd rather have to take on the guy that will run him over as opposed to having to chase a guy like Ahmad Bradshaw. He might reconsider that statement after Brandon Jacobs just lowered the boom on him.
Second and goal. 7 tackles today for Tupu. That one he felt. And Manning and Nix were not on the same page. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Here's another look at that run by Brandon Jacobs when he lowered himself right on low. Or this is the long run here. And then Ahmad Bradshaw over on the sidelines cheering him on. I think that's been a pretty good combination, obviously, between the two and their styles of run. But you know, they each do support each other, and I know that sometimes that's difficult to do, but they've fostered a relationship here in New York that's been awfully good for this team.
The combination, 20 carries, 111 yards on the ground. Smith almost had his second. Throw a little away from him. Wasn't set up for it, and it's 4th down.
And then you're going to see Ahmad Bradshaw do a good job there on Will Herring in pass protection. I'm awfully impressed with Ahmad Bradshaw and his toughness and the things that he does besides just run the football.
25-yard try now from Tynes. It's a red zone stop in essence for the Seattle defense for the first time today. Field goal try, no touchdown, but 3 more points. It's 38-zip. 38-0. Bradshaw's been busy from the start. All Giants here today. Well, the old Seahawks over the last 6+ quarters have been outscored 71-3. They lost 33-3 at Oakland, trailing 38-0 here, and Tynes pops it up. And from outside the 30, it's Baker on the return. Actually, Cameron Mora took it as Tynes is trying to keep it away from Leon Washington, and we will not keep it away from Michael Strahan, the Super Bowl champion defensive end from the New York Giants and now part of Fox NFL Sunday. Hi, Michael. How are we doing?
I'm doing great, man. How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing well, and with Troy and I talked before the game. We enjoyed the piece you did on the Giants defense, and they look good again here today, don't they?
Yeah, they look really good. You know what? They're not letting off. They're coming right at Charlie Whitehurst, and it forced them into some mistakes earlier already.
It's a first down for Charlie Whitehurst and Marshawn Lynch. I mean, the running game now, you're just trying to do something to get anything going offensively for Seattle as Lynch gets 1.5 yards.
Well, I think the big thing for Charlie Whitehurst is they still got to try to protect him, Joe. And as Michael knows, I mean, these guys up front defensively, if it becomes that type of game, which it will be if they decide they're going to try to get back into it, it's going to be hard on this young man.
Well, the Giants are licking their chops, but they're going to stop the run throughout the game. That's the #1 focus.
It's 2nd down and 8. OCU Manura coming off the edge. Might have been lined up in the neutral zone as Marshawn Lynch carries it for 2. Hey, Michael, let's talk about OCU Manura. I mean, last year was a down year. He missed 1 season with an injury. But it seems like the fire has been restarted. And I mean, his month of October was as good as it gets for a D lineman.
Yeah, NFC Defensive Player of the Year. I had a chance to talk to him yesterday, and he said, you know what, I took so much stuff over the last few years coming off the knee injury and just some of the things that were said being put on the bench. So he feels like he's getting a little revenge on everybody right now.
It's 3rd down and 6. It's Michael Strahan from the studio as Whitehurst throws and incomplete for Stokely. 4th down.
You know, Michael, it just seems to me watching this defense, especially, you know, after what was a disappointing year a season ago, it's a group that is having fun again. And that's something that they didn't seem to be having a lot of, you know, last year.
I mean, you're 100% right. Yeah, that's what I noticed earlier this year. I actually went to New York, and I happened to go into this facility and talk to the guys. And the thing was, have fun, and they've been doing that, and they've been winning ever since.
Here's Blackman somehow able to make that catch, gets up and gets a little something on the return. We'll continue talking with Michael Strahan on the other side of the break. Under 8.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. All New York having fun. 38-0. 8:29 left in the 3rd quarter. Michael Strahan is joining us from the studio out in Los Angeles. 38-0. Giants in their offense back on the field starting at the 20. And this offense hasn't misfired, it seems, all day as Ahmad Bradshaw is knocked down by Dexter Davis. Hey, Michael, how good is life in New York when you're with the Giants and you're in first place and rolling like this group is right now?
Yeah. When you're winning like this, you go everywhere. You're right to the front of the line. They pay for your meals, your drink. You can't beat it. It's good to even date you.
I don't think Strahan's waiting in many lines in Los Angeles either.
No. It's 2nd down and 9. Eli Manning throws and completes to Nix. All right, now I want to see how truthful Michael Strahan's going to be with us here today. The way Eli Manning is playing right now, and I know he's got the interceptions, but he's rolling. Did you see this even in the Super Bowl year when you guys got so hot in the postseason? I mean, Manning looks like he's at another level than when you were his teammate.
He's at another level right now. Even when I used to play with Elon, he used to drop back. I used to hold my breath. I'll be honest with you. Now I'm breathing whenever he drops back because I think he totally understands the flow of the football game and the flow of this offense.
Is he a leader type, or has he developed into more of a leader type as you talk to guys that you used to be teammates with?
I think for Eli, he's always been kind of quiet. He's grown into that role. Guys understand what he is. They don't push him to be something that he's not, which is a boisterous, loud guy. That's what my job was when I was there.
Who is that guy on this Giants team as you poke around this club?
You know, Brandon Jacobs is a guy like that. I think Tuck has actually stepped up, not so much as a big voice, but I just think the presence. These guys have stepped up their presence as far as leadership. and Antrell Roll as well has stepped into that, even though it's his first year with the team.
I think one of the things that has helped the Giants, Michael, I'd be interested in your opinion, is, you know, they get, I think, strong leadership from their head coach, and so they don't have to have it as much, I don't think, in that locker room as a lot of other teams that don't have that kind of strength from the head man.
Oh, I totally agree. Totally agree. Tom Coughlin's the type of coach who demands the best out of you every single day. If you don't have your socks at a certain length, if you don't have the right color sleeves on, he's going to jump on you. He never deters from his set of rules, and I think guys respect that, and that's why they play hard for him. When it looks like he's out the door, the Giants have stepped up, and now it looks like his job is secure.
Yeah, this team, I mean, it's been interesting over the last few years. Whenever anyone has come out and said that he's lost control of the team, I mean, that seems to be when this team has responded the most.
Yeah, you know, it's a shame that it has to be like that. I'm sure he feels that way, but they responded really well. Now, like you said, they look like the best team in the NFC.
On 3rd down and 6, Manning slings it, passes caught for a first down. Hakeem Nicks, who is really developing into one of the big threats in the NFC. Coughlin, Mike, is in his 7th year. As we look at this replay, you consider how even the relationship started with you with Tom Coughlin. Did you see him lasting this long with the Giants?
Well, after the first year, I was hoping he wouldn't have lasted through the first game, because I was ready for either him or me to get out of there. But he's lasted. He's coached well. He's loosened up. And I think now the younger players as well, the older players can relate, and that's why they're winning now. That's why he's still the coach. And Nix, I mean, he's a great player. He's really shown a lot in his first few years.
Here's Ahmad Bradshaw carrying it over the right side. They just keep pounding it with 5 left in the third quarter.
I call Ahmad Bradshaw? I call him the chicken gristle. You know that little bone, that little gristle on the chicken bone, just tough? His guy is just tough. He's just like one little muscle, man. And the way he runs, he's the heart and soul of the team in a lot of different ways, just by the fire he plays with.
How about they named him the starter, and Brandon Jacobs, who you said is a louder guy on this team, has had to play his backup.
I mean, that was a big move by Coach Coughlin. And, of course, Brandon Jacobs wasn't happy, but I think it motivated him. As you see, when he gets his opportunities now, he makes the most of them.
It's 2nd down and 9 for the Giants, keeping it on the ground. Bradshaw, and Ahmad takes it to the 36. I was watching the pregame, and I think Howie Long was the one who said it. If this team loses Ahmad Bradshaw, they're going to be hard-pressed to go deep into the playoffs if they get there, and yet here up 38-0. Bradshaw still pounding it up inside.
Well, Tom Coughlin's not the type of coach, because you're up, he's going to take it easy on you. He's going to say, come over and sit for 2 quarters. Hopefully these guys will sit down early. I mean, pretty soon, because you don't want anybody to get hurt. But he's going to make you go out there and play until he really believes he has the game in hand. I don't know at what point that is when you're up 38-0, but I'm sure he'll pull him pretty soon.
It's 3rd down and 5 for Eli Manning, who over the middle hits Smith. And Steve Smith is knocked down at the 21 by Cam Chancellor.
You can see this route by Steve Smith. The defender's trying to take away his inside, but yet Steve Smith is still able to get into the middle of the field because of coverage. That's what you don't want to give up, and it just speaks to the type of ability that Steve Smith has as a route runner to beat a man who's trying to keep him from getting to the middle of the field. An excellent route by Steve Smith.
So now 1st down at the 21. Manning throws and completes. Manningham. Hey, Michael, let me ask you, if you're on Seattle's defense right now and Eli Manning is still out there and you're a prideful player like I know you were, you're getting beaten up 38-0, you're looking for a shot at Eli Manning, aren't you?
Well, you're not necessarily looking at a shot at Eli Manning. Obviously, you're not beating the guy in front of you. You'll never see Eli Manning. So try to beat that guy in front of you once or twice and see what you have from there. But I was always under the impression that if they scored 35 in the first half, we can score 35 in the second half to catch up. You never want to quit. Seattle needs to keep fighting, but the Giants are clicking on all cylinders right now. Eli, like you said, looks like a totally different quarterback, even from the guy who won the Super Bowl in 2007.
He's barely had a hand on him all day. This one's batted away by Jennings as he knocked it away from Hakeem Nicks.
That was a risky throw there by Eli Manning. Jennings had a chance to maybe come underneath that one, but I agree with Michael from what I've seen. I mean, the one thing you know you're going to get with Eli Manning is someone who is going to put the time in. It's important to him. He's going to be prepared each and every week to go out and give himself a chance to be successful. But I see a guy throwing with as much confidence as I've seen since he's come into the league.
And, you know, and he's quiet, Troy, like we alluded to earlier, but I think that personality fits him well in New York where they want you to be loud and they want more material. He doesn't give them much to write about, good or bad. Eli stays even keeled, and I think that's the best thing about his demeanor.
Timeout taken before a 3rd and 1. 2 minutes left in this third quarter. We'll take a break, come back. Eli shaking his head up 38-0. 3rd down when we come back. With Michael Strahan in the studio, Joe, Troy, and Pam from Seattle, where it's been all Giants. 2:08 left, 3rd and 1. Third quarter play, and Brandon Jacobs still won't go down, but he's stopped. No gain on the play, and it was Sia Vee and Kentwan Balmer who got in there to make the play. It's 4th down and the field goal unit will come on. So Michael Strahan, it's been fun having you with us. Enjoy the rest of your day in the studio, and thanks for the little diversion here during the game.
No, I appreciate it, and thank you guys for having me. You guys are always good to listen to, and I'll be watching the rest of the game.
All right. We might bring you back in the fourth quarter, so don't go very far.
I'm here all day if you need me.
All right, 30-yard try by Tynes. Penalty flag is down on the play. Tynes drilled it, but a flag is down. If it's against Seattle, the 5-yard penalty variety, it would be enough for a first down. And it appears to be. I mean, nothing is going right for Pete Carroll's Seattle team here this afternoon. The offense for the Giants coming back on the field.
You know, and you got to remind yourself
Illegal
that
formation. Defense number 41 lined up over the center. By rule, that's an illegal formation defense. 5-yard penalty. Result of the penalty is a first down.
They said lined up over the center. That's Chancellor who went up over the top. There was a rule change a couple of years ago, and so by penalty it's a first and goal for the Giants.
Well, we've had a few of those today, but you've got to remind yourself this was a Seattle team coming into this game today that was leading the division. It shows you that they've got a long way to go when playing against what is arguably the best team in the NFC.
Well, the St. Louis Rams at the end of the day are going to be in first place. That's Nix forced out. Incomplete. Kelly Jennings, a good play. Seattle lost in St. Louis earlier in the year, and I guess I don't know what's more surprising, the way the 49ers have played in the NFC West, that the Rams are leading midway through. That's a shocking development for a team that's got a rookie quarterback in Sam Bradford.
Yeah, they found themselves a good one there, and I was going to say the Giants, boy, they sure haven't taken their foot off the gas. You know, here at 38-0, and still throwing the ball and doing the things that they want to do, and that's kind of been the way they've played all year long. 2 weeks ago against Dallas, had that game in hand, and we're still throwing the ball, and they're going to remain aggressive.
They reset the play clock on 2nd and goal. I mean, this has got to be it, though, for the skilled players for this Giants offense here. This last gasp here at the end of the 3rd quarter. Second and goal. Nix trying to get a block. Penalty flag is down, and it's an offside against Seattle. And Nix gets up limping.
It looked like Chris Clemens was
offside.
About 4 yards offside.
After this,
and that's what this is what you worry about. I mean, you got to play. You can't worry about injury all the time. But Akeem Nix, as we've talked about throughout this game, he's having himself a heck of a season, and they can't afford really to lose any of these type of players.
Take a look at the tackle by Trufant. Nix limps over to the sideline. I mean, as you said, not only are their starters still in there, but they're still throwing it. Under a minute to go, 3rd quarter. Nix on the sideline. They keep it on the ground with Bradshaw, who's already rushed for 2 touchdowns. And it's 3rd down, Giants. Ciavi'i made the stop, a gain of 1. Play clock is underneath the game clock. So there'll be another play here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, we'll get an idea here as to how badly the Giants want to come away with a touchdown, as to whether or not they elect to keep it on the ground or if they're going to throw something up outside, either to Steve Smith or Mario Manningham.
That's Smith in motion, play action. And this one's batted down as Manning was looking for Smith. I mean, this looks like a team that's trying for a higher BCS ranking. Still throwing it in the end zone. Smith already has one, and it was Cam Chancellor, the rookie, 5th-round pick out of Virginia Tech.
You know, I do know this, Joe. I mean, you get into a game like this, and then when you do start to let up a little, that is when you start having some of those injuries. This is a difficult thing to try to coach through, you know, here in this next quarter.
2 for 2 is Tynes. We are through 3 quarters here in Seattle. 41-0. Giants on top of the Seahawks. Tynes will kick it away. It's 41-0 Giants. And by the way, just to clean something up, Dave Deal, who went out, getting x-rays on his hip. The x-rays that were in the hand of the doctor were of somebody else. They're still waiting the results of the x-ray on Dave Deal, so if we get any word on that, we'll pass it on. Here's a little pop-up kick again, and this one is going to be returned out near the 30 by Anthony McCoy. And so now back into the broadcast booth, and for Seattle, if we want to take the Seattle side, we talk so much about the Giants. I mean, I'll just hand it right off to you.
Yeah.
What would you say about the Seattle Seahawks here today? I mean, nothing went right top to bottom really for the Seahawks.
Right from the beginning of the game. I mean, it looked like they might be able to have some things work in their favor, and they got the turnover from the Giants. But Joe, we knew coming into this game that a lot of things were going to have to fall in place for Seattle to even be competitive in this game, and it just didn't happen.
Whitehurst throws, completes to Williams. Pete Carroll has his hands full as they have just almost revamped this entire roster, even this week alone since we got here to Seattle on Friday. General Manager John Schneider and Pete Carroll have been busy, and they're trying to really restart this franchise, whether it's under Whitehurst or whatever it is. They are working hard up here. 2nd down and 2. Here's Lynch right up the gut. Biggest run of the day, and Marshawn Lynch is to the 35. 26-yard run. Let's go to Kurt Menefee for a game break.
Well, at halftime, we showed you the injury to the Colts, Austin Collie, as he was carried off on a stretcher in what looked to be terrible. But the good news is, once inside the locker room, he sat up and is aware. They say he does have a concussion, but the news is good. It's only a concussion. It looked a lot worse at one time. Joe, Troy?
Oh, my gosh. I didn't get a chance to see that at halftime. That hit was awful. So good news for Austin Collie and for the Colts. 1st down, Seattle. Whitehurst, end zone, Obamanu, touchdown. And there's the first for Charlie Whitehurst.
Well, they got the nice run from Marshawn Lynch on the previous play, and Obamanu is on the outside. He's working against Corey Webster, and Charlie Whitehurst just lays it out there. I didn't see exactly what happened with Corey Webster there on the outside to let Obamanu get as open as what he did.
It's 41-7. Well, just when we get finished saying nothing's gone right for Seattle, something went right. Marshawn Lynch, the big run. Obamanu with a catch. And the first touchdown pass in the career of Charlie Whitehurst. In Seattle, first points of the day for the Seahawks. It's 41-7. With Peyton Manning in a game with the Colts at Philadelphia. Eli Manning, his day appears finished here in Seattle. An impressive day for this Giants offense. And Blackman will take a knee. We'll take a break. And Sage Rosenfels will take over. Eli Manning's work is finished. Go to NFL.com's Game Center for live game stats, fan discussions, in-game video highlights, and more. Only at NFL.com. scores for Eli Manning, 21 of 32. 290 yards. Akeem Nicks looks like he's fine. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Very good day for Eli Manning, and the Giants are on their way to their 5th straight win. Rosenfeld's in at quarterback. DJ Ware is in at running back, and he gets it over the right side. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt.
Well, the Raiders aren't rolling like they did last week against Seattle, but nonetheless, tackle-eligible play puts them in front of Kansas City. Khalif Barnes, hey, the big man celebrates. It's a 14-13 lead in Oakland in the 3rd quarter. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
And as you look at the AFC West, there's Oakland right behind Kansas City, so a big touchdown there. And Campbell, here's Coates in a seated position. Campbell's rallied that team, even though head coach Tom Cable said Gratkowski is our starter when he comes back from injury. They look at the left leg of Adam Coates. We'll take a break. Adam Coates able to get up and walk off even with a limp. And Mitch Petrus comes into the game. 3rd center of the day for the Giants. Centers it to Rosenfels, and the handoff is to Ware. He picks up a 1st down for the Giants. Does not go down easily. First of all, the injury to Adam Coates going over the body of DJ Ware and banging his right knee on DJ's elbow. And then Mitch Petrus coming into the game, the 5th round pick out of Arkansas.
He was going to make sure he got out on the field before they called him back. It was his chance to play. He wasn't going to miss out on it.
Now Seibert shifts back over to center. Petrus at left guard. And DJ Ware at tailback. He's going to be busy, Ware. And DJ with a nice run over the right side. 5 yards. Next week it's a doubleheader here on Fox. Vikings and Bears, that's turned into a bigger game after what happened today, especially with Minnesota coming back for that win at home over Arizona. Our Lions and Bills, then America's game of the week. Cowboys and Giants, Seahawks, Cardinals, or Rams, 49ers. That's at 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And here's Mitch Petrus, who is pulling and made the block on Curry. Second and 5. More DJ Ware showing his fresh legs as he carries for 9 and a 1st down. Trufant on the stop, and the Giants don't have Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs. DJ Ware, who had carried it only twice all season coming into this game, is showing a good burst.
Well, he sure is. He's running the ball awfully well. Of course, you can only imagine how Seattle's feeling defensively right now out on the field at 41-7. But yeah, they put Ahmad Bradshaw on the sideline, of course, pull Eli Manning, but they can't pull everybody. So a lot of these guys still have to play, and you just hope that none of them get hurt too bad or hurt at all.
Movement prior to the snap. False start.
False start, number 76, offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 1st down.
So Deal was in there, and now Adam Coates is going into the dressing room to get looked at. And Tom Coughlin still hot and upset about that false start as Ramses Barden, big receiver, number 13, 6'6", 227, comes into the huddle.
Joe, we see Tom Coughlin here, and that's what I like about him. Here they are, 41-7. We heard him when he talked to Pam Oliver coming out of the half, a great 1st half, and all he dwelled on was the fact that they had fumbled the ball on their 1st possession, and there's no let up in this guy, and he holds everybody accountable, and he's going to coach this team until this game is over, and that's a good thing.
It's 1st and 15, tossed to Ware running right, and DJ stays on his feet. Good run on 1st and 15. Forced out by Babineau, a gain of 9. More early game headliners. Phillip Rivers, who had thrown for more yards than any quarterback after 8 games coming into the day. 295 more, 4 touchdowns and interception. Chargers trying to get up off the deck. Sanchez in that come from behind win over Detroit, and Drew Brees and the Saints in his day.
Those 4 touchdowns for Phillip Rivers, good for anybody who has him on their fantasy team.
He says with a wink and a little sparkle in his eye. DJ Ware again picks up 4. How is your fantasy team doing, by the way? I was gone for 3 weeks doing baseball.
Not real good. You know, you've got to go in there weekly and adjust the roster, and something that I have failed to do. So I had a few guys playing that were actually not even on the field on some weeks.
I did not know Super Bowl champions made excuses.
I was playing with a half a roster.
Half a deck, not half a deck, whatever. You are what your record says you are, as Ware carries it over the left side.
Now you look at the Giants offensively as well as defensively, you know, coming into this game and where they ranked. Well, offensively speaking, they came into the game 3rd in the NFL based on total yardage, and that ranking is going to go up after this game. And then defensively, you know, right now Seattle with just 158 yards of offense. Pretty dominant performance on both sides of the ball.
It's interesting for the Giants, as I mentioned in the first half. 5 of their last 8 games are in the NFC East. Only team they played within the division was Dallas before their bye week. Here's Jacobs back in the game. Brandon Jacobs carries it and picks up 6. You look at the upcoming schedule. This isn't all of it, but the next chunk of it is at home against Dallas. That's a late game next weekend here on Fox. At Philadelphia, Jacksonville, then back in the division with Washington. And they end the season at Minnesota, at home against Philly, at Green Bay, at Washington. That's how the Giants end their season. And they'll lead their division after 8 games. Here's DJ Ware for another first down.
Go back to that previous run by Brandon Jacobs and Lofa Tatupu coming in to make the attempt a tackle. I mean, you know, Brandon Jacobs, as we know, is 265 pounds. Lofa Tatupu is listed at 250 pounds, and I asked him, because I sure didn't see it, you know, how much he really weighed, and he said about 230 pounds. I just don't know how a guy plays linebacker, middle linebacker in the NFL at that weight. I mean, he's a heck of a player, but that's tough duty there.
Here's Ware. Ware not brought down initially as Hawthorne missed the tackle, a gain of 6. The Seahawks defense has allowed over 1,000 total yards over the last 2 games. Last week to Oakland, 74 points as this group is getting run down. And part of that is because the offense hasn't been able to sustain anything. Turning the ball over, it starts to roll downhill, and then you're dead.
Well, you see how tired that defensive front is right now. The Seahawks defense has been on the field 20 minutes longer than their offense.
It's 2nd down and 4, and a handoff is to Ware, who has another first down. The ball pops up and then right back into his belly. First down Giants with under 6 to play, and it's an impressive drive put together by the Giants, who haven't quit, and in the run game they're running it right down Seattle's throat.
Yeah, this is a heck of a drive for that offensive line and taking time off the clock, and for a stadium that we came into the game talking about, you know, the 12th man in the crowd, it's pretty sparse out there right now.
It's a great facility. The way they have the roof on each side, the east and west side of the stadium, it holds the noise in, kicks it back down to the field, but they haven't been loud here in Seattle since the first quarter. Here's Ware again to the line of scrimmage. That's it. Tonight It's Fox Hollow Scream Sunday with the all-new Simpsons Treehouse of Horror you've been waiting for, followed by the Cleveland Show, Family Guy, and American Dad. All-new Hollow Scream episodes start tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central here on Fox. We'll be in New York next weekend for the Giants and the Cowboys with John Kitna at quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, and the Cowboys at 1-6. They've got a game tonight at Green Bay, and pretty good chance they'll be 1-7 facing the Giants next week.
On 2nd down and 10, here's Jacobs. Game's 3. I mean, so much to talk about with regard to this division. You've got the Dallas Cowboys, who have seemingly wasted a ton of talent. Now they're playing without Tony Romo, their quarterback. You got the Washington Redskins, who are in a bye week, who had all the controversy with Donovan McNabb being pulled at the end of the game last week. And then you've got the Eagles, who are playing the Colts right now as they welcome Michael Vick back to their starting lineup. It's 3rd down and 7. 7th time inside the red zone for the Giants, and Brandon Jacobs still running hard. Picks up 3. Let's go down to Pam Oliver. Pam.
Hey, Joe, just wanted to give you a couple of little updates. Adam Coates, you saw him go into the locker room. What they're saying now about that is it's a sprained knee. Hakeem Nicks, he just had his ankle rolled, and he's just out because of the score. Back to you.
All right, good. Well, that's good news for the Giants, for Hakeem Nicks. It's 4th down and 4, and the Giants will go for it, try and pick up a 1st down and then chew up the rest of this clock. A methodical march down the field for the run game of the Giants. All runs, 14-play drive, now 15. And on the inside handoff, it's DJ Ware, and Ware has a 1st down. Hawthorne on the stop, but on 4th down a conversion, and this Seattle defense is just worn out. Here's the Redskins, and you've got Mike Shanahan pulling McNabb. That was strange at the end of the game last week.
Well, I'm surprised, to be honest with you, the number of people that have taken shots at Mike Shanahan. I think that this was a veteran coach trying to protect a veteran quarterback, meaning he pulled him because he didn't think he was playing very well, and probably hasn't thought he's been playing very well for quite some time. And rather than just come out and say, hey, he's had a hard time learning the offense, he tried to protect him with a lot of excuses that didn't go over very well. But you know, I think the only job that Mike Shanahan has is to try to do what he can do and make the proper decisions to give his team a chance to win games.
We're at the 2-minute warning in Seattle. All Giants throughout, up 41-7. Some of that enthusiasm that you saw along the sideline for USC. Pete Carroll is watching his team lose big for the 2nd straight week, and they're about to slide to 4-4.
You look at this drive, Joe. I mean, this drive alone, over 11.5 minutes taken off the clock.
All runs.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks could not stop them at all. You see Charlie Whitehurst. How about memories for the great number 8, Troy Aikman?
Oh, good memories there, yeah. Yeah, my first start against the Saints, and it wasn't real pretty. We didn't score any points, so at least Charlie got 1 touchdown on the board.
And look at that, he almost got it to the end zone on that Hail Mary.
Of course, the great Jimmy Johnson was coaching us in that game, too.
Oh, I forgot about that link. Yeah, 28-0. So Charlie Whitehurst, his start, first in the NFL, played a little bit as a rookie in '06. Actually had a touchdown run with San Diego, but his debut as a starter will end on the short end of a 41-7 game.
Well, hopefully Charlie, won't be too discouraged, because, as we talked about, so many things had to work out for them. They're overmatched. I mean, I know they came in leading the division, but they're not anywhere close to the team that the New York Giants are, and for him to come in and try to go up against this Giants defense was going to be challenging. And he'll get another opportunity. I don't know when that might occur, but he'll get another one, and I'm sure he'll be better prepared for it.
So now the Giants will turn it over on downs. That'll stop the game clock with 34 seconds left, and Charlie gets one more trip out onto the field in his debut as a starter. We'll take a break, come back, last 34 seconds when we return. In 34 seconds off the game clock, the Giants will be 6-2. You see the Eagles score at the top right-hand corner of your screen, up by 2 on Indianapolis with a football. And that's it. Final play of the day, Lynch carries it. And for the Giants, they played a weaker team here today, but the good teams take care of business and show just how good they are, which is exactly what the New York Giants did here today, winning by 34 points over Seattle. We will take a break, come back, and wrap up our day here in the Pacific Northwest, 41-7. And the Giants have won 5 in a row. Back after this.